Hello everyone, welcome to this session on how we can add items in the grade book. It's also going to be a little bit more of a deeper dive than what we saw on we only saw where the grade book was. So in this video we'll be going through the components of the grade book. So there are basically three. Let's go into the grade book and probably follow the same. So when you go into the grade book, there are two things which we look at. They are grade categories and grade items. Now, for example, if you go, this is the broad layout of the grade book. So the first thing is the grader report. So as and when we add grade items, you'll find that the table just keeps going on to the right, and you can see the grades of the individuals over there. You can see the grade history of students, so on and so forth, specific people, and you can see the single view, that is only one person's grades. Now, we don't have any grade awarded yet, so we don't get to see much. Anyway, let's proceed on. So here we are going to go in for the setup. The gradebook setup is the first item which we are going to have, and you will be seeing as of now it looks blank. This is the title of the page, title of the course. Now I want to highlight to you a couple of things. We've got the grade item, and we've got the grade item, and we've got uh, add outcome item, and also we got an add category. Okay, so this grade item and category are the most important things as of now with which we'll be working on. Outcomes have to be very carefully defined, because when we define an outcome, it could influence the grade book. It will not be the way with which we are used to looking at a grade. So for that reason, we are not going into the outcomes right now. So here I go, I'm adding a category. So let us go back to our grade book. We want to keep assignment, we want to keep quiz and class participation as the broad outline, and this is what we'll do right now. So here we go. We add a category. The category will be called quiz, so nothing more. And if you see here, we have an option of excluding the empty grade. So if a student doesn't get a grade, do you want to include it or not? But I prefer to keep the empty grades accounted for, because many times students don't participate in an activity. So it means that if suppose I don't participate, I'll all my we don't need to consider my grade. So I don't prefer to do that. And here the parent category will also be there. So I'm sorry. So I can give one more thing called a category total name, which I am again giving as quiz here. This category total name is the sum of all the individual components which we'll be using, and this will be useful for the formula which we'll be probably seeing in the advanced section. So in any case, I'm just putting it across. If you notice, the maximum grade, the value, and other things are all hidden. The reason is that if suppose you're going to change any of these values, you'll find that it will change. But for now, we'll just use the natural grading technique. So what are the various grading techniques? You can probably see the help menu for more details. And you can hide the grades, but do remember that if you hide a grade item, then all the subheadings could be hidden from the eyes of the students, and you will have to probably unhide everything before you are able to let the students watch or view the grades. So for now, my suggestion is that you please do not go too much into the hidden. And the meaning of this locked is, after a particular date, you do not want any changes to be done for that grade item. Maybe you're just given the issued the certificate, and you don't want a person to go and what you call as modify the grades. So at that time, we can lock the grades, and we can adjust the weights or give relative importance to this particular grade item. I could modify the grades here, but typically, as on a personal note, I prefer to modify only the final grades by putting a formula, and that is the way I prefer it. But if you're comfortable with changing the weights, their tool is there for you, right? So now we have added one item, quiz. So let's proceed on. Let's quickly add the other ones. So we've got now one grade category called quiz. I'm going to add the other grade category, assignment, and we are going very quickly to say that I don't want the empty grades. If you want, I can drop the lowest 3. So that means if there are 10 assignments you're giving and you don't want 3 to be taken, this is the place where you do it. Now what happens, if you see, there's one more new thing called parent category, because that was the first thing. The parent category was not shown. I also prefer to give it like this, as total, and the parent category can be technology leadership, or I can go under quiz. So you can have subcategories if you desire. And with a little practice, I mean, like once you get the hang of the system, you will be customizing it to your liking. That's the beauty of this platform. And again, I'm not going into any of the hidden or other such values. So we give save changes. So now you see there are 2. You can see that assignment total is coming like this, and of course this is the place where you do the calculations. Let me just change the category total to my convenience, because it's always good to follow a standard. And going forward, we got quiz, assignment, and I'm not remembering what I gave. Yes, class participation and extra credit. Okay, so let's give the 2 categories very quickly. Class participation, and I don't want to exclude any of the empty grades. Maybe you can drop the bottom 3. So but if you are not keeping even 3 what you call as activities, then it will be a big farce. So here I prefer to keep it as there's no space in the category total name. That's the way I prefer to keep it. So you just keep it like this, and voila. So parent category, again I'm just checking, it's it's on the top, and I need one more for extra credit. So here we go. And I wish to just point out that I'm not speeding up or slowing down the entire process. It is just that it is as fast as what you are seeing it. And yeah, but I must also confess that in the initial stages it seemed a little pain, because you tend to forget that little bit of something, and that comes to haunt you later on. So you once with practice, I think that it's just going to be there for you. Now here I've given underscore and this one, and yeah, that's not probably the best thing to do. And if you if you if you don't mind, let me just change this again. You can just see that we can just have an overview. We gave the category name, and then we didn't want to exclude the empty grades, and we didn't want what you call, we just gave the total, and we ensured that the parent category was at the top, right? So now I cannot actually change these parent categories outright, but then there's one thing which I can do. If I want, I can just drag and drop it to any other place of my choice. Now look at this. Intuitively you can tell that class participation total is now a subset of quiz, right? Now let us just go in and see how the class participation looks like. Now if you go here and look at the parent category, parent category has become quiz. Okay, now let us make this again as a top level thing. I am giving class participation under assignment, and let us go back to the uh, parent category. You'll see that it's again technology leader in digital age pedagogy. So in this video we've seen how we can add categories. So categories are broad outlines of the way the grades are going to be assigned. Now let us say that you want to assign a particular grade for some activity where students don't return values, or maybe they are giving you a handwritten note and you want to give them marks. They have not handed anything through the digital platform. Fear not, we got a solution for you. So here we add a grade item, let me say that it's for class participation that I give you a note. So let us say best points of Moodle is the thing which they are giving as a hand as a what you call as a, pop quiz, something just gave and they just give you an answer. So I'm not going to have any what you call as a return. I'm not going to have some work turned in. So I can give whatever grade I want. Ideally, keep the same grade so that you can scale it later on. It can still be 100, and I am going to have to put it under some category. So class participation. So this goes under the grade category, class participation. Okay. So now you can change it if you want to any of these letters, percentage, so on and so forth. Again, I can have a scale. Okay. I can keep a scale, I can determine a scale which I want to use, or it can be text based also, A, B, C, D, and stuff like that. Okay, so now let's go on and give it as value, and the whole thing looks good. We've given the correct category, save changes. Now let's go and have a look at the grade book. When I view the grade book, I am going for the grader report. Now if you see, there are a lot of fields which have been added. So for example, I can directly, for example, grade, we got this pop quiz item over here. Let us say that an item has been turned. I am giving the marks. So automatically, if you see the total is also work, I can give the entries directly like this, or I can go and grade the item, or I can give a single view. The choices, I mean, the number of options are just too many. Okay, so this is one this gradebook is a very powerful feature where you can just click and do the changes, right? So we saw what is a grade category, we saw what's a grade item. Whenever we are going to classify the grades into broad divisions, we use the grade category. And when we want to probably, where there's nothing turned in as a digital assignment, you will not have any what we call as a place to put the grades. So for this purpose, the grade item works admirably well. Okay, so go to setup, do the you can just add the grade categories, then you can add grade items if you wish. So you can see the grade item over here. You can make some edit. You can also do the calculation, and of some other works which are turned in, and make that as a grade item. Okay, but as of now we are not going in to see how to do the calculation, so I'm not going to go too deeply into this. All right, so if you see, I added some grades. So if I have to change certain things, I have to regrade, and that is also done automatically by Moodle. We don't need to really do much of work. So you can say what is the grade to pass, because this will be a criteria which will be applied for subsequent access of work. All right. So thank you so much for joining us in this session. We hope that you understood how to go about to the grade book. We need to set up the grade book. We then see the to set up the grade book, we have to add the categories and we have to add the grade items. And once we do that, we are through. We should add probably the grade totals. That's nothing but a name. It's almost like a variable which you'll be using in the calculation. You will be definitely seeing it in the later videos where we'll be going specifically for showing how to do the calculated grade items. And going beyond, we will say that all you'll be seeing how this is going to be used when you are going to add activities or resources. Thanks for joining, and as usual, I'd like to add, if you have any feedback on this session, do let us know. We really wish to make this more useful for you. If there's something which you feel we have left out also, please do share in the comments so that the community benefits. Thank you so much.